Hello and welcome to this review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 on Netflix. If you're looking for one of the other movies with the same exact title, go look back a little bit in the series. This is a direct sequel to Tobe Hooper's classic Texas Chain Space Saw Massacre, so that space is very important. But it's a direct sequel to that. It's set many, many years later. There's some of the returning characters from that film, like Sally Hardesty, and of course, Leatherface, who is the main attraction here. The film was directed by David Blue Garcia, who has basically, this is his feature directorial debut. He has directed one other film, Tejano, which was a smaller independent film, but this is his major studio debut for the film. It was written by Chris Thomas Devlin, based on a story by Fede Alvarez and Rhoda Sayagues. Fede Alvarez, of course, was the one behind the excellent, excellent Evil Dead reboot. This film feels a lot like that reboot. It feels a lot like the tone and what they were going for with that, and this film is absolutely fantastic. It has a great cast. It stars Sarah Yarkin as Melody. It stars Elsie Fisher as her sister Lila, Jacob Lattimore, Nell Hudson, Mark Burnham as Leatherface, who is just force of nature in this movie, Mo Dunford and Olin Forere, I hope I got that name right, as Sally Hardesty. Sadly, Marilyn Burns could not reprise the role of Sally from the very first film. She passed away in 2014, but Olwyn does an absolutely fantastic job. Basically, just steps right into her shoes of how you would think Sally Hardesty would be. She does a great job, so this film is a nice tribute to Marilyn Burns as well. Right off the bat, this film is going to be extraordinarily divisive among people. If you're going to go on Twitter when the movie comes out or anytime after, people are going to be very, very, very opinionated about this movie. It has some content that is very brutal. It has some commentary on our current society that is also very brutal. So for everybody out there, if you are a victim of a school shooting or a mass shooting or something like that, this movie might not be the best one to watch. It might trigger something for you, but the way that it uses that frame for the character of Lila is tasteful, I would put it. It doesn't make her into this, hapless victim. She's very wounded. She is very broken from the experiences that she's gotten, but she is not dead in the water. She is not useless because of it, and it makes sure to hammer that point home that if you are a survivor, you are strong. You survived. With that out of the way, the movie is also extraordinarily brutal. If you liked Halloween Kills and you liked the version of Michael Myers that was going with the straight-up murdering of firefighters with saws and shovels and everything else he was doing in that scene in that movie, you're going to love the way Leatherface operates in this film. He is so incredibly just powerful. Like I said, I use the phrase force of nature. He is. This movie might just be a man/woman versus nature film here, because Leatherface is just another form of nature. He is an apex predator in this movie. It is also an extraordinarily beautiful film. It is shot in Bulgaria on location. It wasn't in Texas, but where they did shoot, it looks exactly like Texas. They hired a Texan to direct the film, so he knows what it looks like. He's hung out in the back roads of Texas. You can check out my interview with him, actually, from that hashtag show. Put a link in the description or wherever. He had a lot to say about Texas and being a Texan directing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But it is absolutely beautiful. You can see by some of the screenshots here that there are just some really, really nice shots, some really nice color palettes, some really nice color juxtapositions here. There's a lot of sort of neon-ish mixed with the more dull sort of browns and grays and yellowish stuff like sand and the town that they're in, basically. The story is a little... It sounded iffy. It works for the film. A group of influencers, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, whatever the hell you want to call it, they're on Instagram or they're on social media. They're chefs, so they buy this town, this dilapidated, rundown town, and they're trying to turn it into a utopia. So they get a bunch of people to come and check it out so that they can buy different areas of the town and make it into this sort of pop-up, awesome, hate-free zone. And what they don't anticipate is that there are some people there that do not want to move. And there's one lady in particular, an older lady who runs an orphanage, who does not want to move. She has one more orphan left, and if you can guess who that orphan is, it's Leatherface. He is more human before the tragic accident happens when two of the teens, millennials, whoever they are, they're probably in their 20s, I don't know. Before they go in and sort of mess with her, she has an accident, and that sets off Leatherface. He just snaps like that. There's a great scene in the ambulance where, for the first part of the movie, you're wondering, like, well, this is kind of a weird, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. There's no chainsaws, there's no massacring, but trust me, when Leatherface gets going, he really gets going. It is utterly shell-shocked, is what I would describe my feeling after. I watched it with my girlfriend in a back-to-back with the original, and she had to take a little bit of a... she wanted to take a Friends break to watch an episode of Friends or Psych or whatever, something to cleanse her palate after seeing it, because it was a very, very, very just troubling experience. This movie and the first movie have a lot in common like that, where they both take these experiences of the characters, and it's just, you're hammered with it as an audience. You are hammered. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, does a little bit less on the brutality side, a little bit less on the violence side. It's more implied. It's more psychological. This one is just Leatherface savaging people with a chainsaw. He does some stuff without chainsaws, too. He does a little bit of hand-to-hand combat there, but the stuff with the chainsaws is amazing. There's one scene in particular that if you watch the trailer, you will understand. It is the scene on the bus where all the people are filming him and saying, you take one shot at me, bro, you get canceled. Well, Leatherface will show you exactly how to get canceled yourself. That scene in particular, it's a ballet of blood. It is... I can't imagine how long it took them to shoot the scene. They said it took quite a long time in the interviews that I did, but it was just, it's just nonstop brutality, violence, killing for 10 minutes, basically, of the film. It is thrilling, it is horrifying, and it just works. It really does. This movie just works on a whole bunch of different levels. There are some nitpicks you can make. The ending is pretty cheap. I thought I could have done without the shock ending that they give you. Some of the side characters are one-dimensional, but we are watching a horror movie and not Peacemaker. So you can nitpick certain things here or there. It's kind of short. It is about an hour and 20 minutes long, so it is a nice double feature to watch with the first one, because the first one is about an hour and 20 minutes as well. So it's you know, a little less than 3 hours of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But if you want to get into it and you want to do it, it's a perfect double feature to watch. If I can leave you with one thing, it is that this movie does not fuck around. The movie doesn't fuck around with anything frilly and anything like extraneous. It is an hour and 20 minutes. It gets the job done. Texas Chainsaw Massacre might not have the cultural impact or the genre opening of Scream or Halloween, but it fits alongside those films as an excellent, excellent sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it fits alongside as a great horror movie. It is a thrill to watch this movie. I'm glad it's on streaming, but I wish it would be in theaters, because it is that kind of movie where you want to see it with a big crowd so that you can react to everything. The cast is great. The cast performances are great. Sarah Yarkin goes through hell in this movie. Mark Burnham is Leatherface. He is awesome. It's just a great horror movie. Check it out on Netflix. You can watch it right now. Let me know what you think of the movie in the comments. Do all that engagement stuff. Do it for me, because it helps me out, and, you know, YouTube likes it. But this movie is fantastic. I hope you really enjoy it. I really, really can't wait to see the reaction to this one. I'm sure there's going to be a divided reaction among it, but I am firmly in the place of this movie is fantastic. I gave it a 92 out of 100 on my written review for that hashtag show, and the video review is no different. It is a 92 out of 100 movie. It is the best Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel. It barely edges out Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Thank you for watching, and let's hope Leatherface doesn't get you tonight.